So why do you say, with the emphasis that you say, that what happened is a nullity?
Well, Thompson, you listen to your own correspondents, and sometimes from their own narrative, you will see whether they also color their reportage with their own personal biases. I'm not going to that. I will speak to the facts of the matter. You recollect when he began, you yourself related to some media interaction by Sam George. I think Sam George himself was completely misinformed or uninformed about what was happening. Yesterday, the leadership had sought a meeting way back with the speaker, and we're struggling to find space as to when exactly that meeting could come off. The speaker eventually determined that we could meet yesterday in the morning, have a breakfast meeting. At the same time, the speaker had granted leave for leadership and him to meet with Dr. J.Y. Amoako, former executive director of UN ECA, the Economic Commission for Africa. And he wanted to have some engagement with the speaker and leadership. That was concurrent to the meeting that we had programmed with the speaker. When the meeting began, we had indications from the Fix the Ghana group that we were submitting a petition to
Fix the country.
Fix the country, I should say. So the speaker sent the Honorable Minority Leader and myself to go and meet with the group and receive their petition. We went to the ceremonial gate to receive the petition, which petition eventually did not even come to us because there was confusion among themselves about who to present the petition to us. So we're waiting for them in the sun for about 45 minutes. They couldn't sort themselves out as to who to present the petition to us. Eventually, they themselves, some quarrel ensued, and the petition that they were to submit to us, somebody seized it and did tear it up into shreds. So no petition was presented to us.
They contest this claim, but it will be dealt with at a different time.
But that's their own business.
All right.
But suffice it to say that no petition came to us. Haruna and I then decided to leave and for them to sort themselves out, and when they did, then they should come to us. So we had left the scene. About 45 minutes, fruitless endeavor from us. It was when we left that the reportage came to us that had happened after we had left. But be that as it may, these three things were going on at the same time. And we had programmed a meeting of the caucus at 9, when we thought that by about 9 o'clock, our meeting with the speaker would have been over. But because of the concurrence of these three events, the leadership meeting with the speaker, leadership meeting with the speaker and leadership meeting with Dr. Amoako, and third, the meeting with the Fix the Country group, our own caucus had to be in abeyance. So when we finished with all these meetings, I requested that the speaker, because of what has happened, our own caucus had not taken place, and we needed about 30 minutes to have some brief caucusing before coming to the plenary. This request was made in the presence of all my colleagues, in particular the Honorable Haruna Gusa, the minority leader, because he was closest to me when I was making the application to the speaker, and the speaker granted it. So we went into caucus, and at the time, I'd heard that the finance minister wanted to see me. So I said, let me finish the caucus, and then I'll go to see him. But just when we're about ending, he was ushered into the caucus meeting. And then he came with this request that he wanted to see the speaker and talk to him to grant a space. to grant him space to have further engagement with the two caucuses. So I said he should allow me to finish with my own caucus meeting, which we did. And then we gave signal to the Speaker that the Finance Minister had come in with this request. The Speaker then said, and I thought we could meet the Speaker in his holding room. But the Speaker said, no, we should go to the administration block and have this meeting. So we went to the administration block to have the meeting, and he invited the leadership of the minority as well. So all of us, the leaders of the majority, the leaders of the minority, met the Speaker together with the Finance Minister who put in this request. Then the suggestion came from Muntaka, the chief whip for the minority, that he knows the disposition of his group. So he thinks that it would be unwise for the Finance Minister to meet the entire caucus of the minority. So he proposed that he should meet leadership. And alongside, I gave an indication that just so that the leadership would not be accused of perhaps entering into any alliance with the Finance Minister, let it be the expanded leadership of the minority. So that lately there's been accusations against the minority leadership. And sometimes when I was a minority leader, these things would be made against you, even without any basis. So I said that for transparency purposes, that meeting should involve the expanded leadership of the minority. And we'll do same with my side, so nobody accuses anybody of anything. So that was what happened. And the unfortunate thing, however, was that when the Speaker moved into the chamber, and Ahmed Ibrahim made the observation that the majority side was empty, the Speaker then said, well, nobody has come with any request for any caucus. His understanding was that the caucuses were to hold in the morning. So he doesn't know, by inference, he doesn't know what was happening to the majority side. Even though we had told him we were going to have this caucus, and I had specifically mentioned that we require about 30 minutes to deal with whatever encomes the chamber. There's a reason why the Speaker, in suspending the House, mentioned that he was suspending for 30 minutes, because I had made that suggestion to him. But the tragedy of the circumstances was how he did not own up to my own prayer to him, but to go and say that, no request had been made to him. I was surprised by the Speaker's utterance. But let's leave that and come when we went eventually to begin proceeding.
Great.
When we entered, and the Finance Minister, because we had this discussion behind the curtain in the Speaker's own conference room. And so the onus fell on me to make the request on behalf of the Finance Minister for him to engage. And then we'll come to deal with the substance of the matter before us. The Speaker then surprisingly said, initially he said, no, we should listen to the minority leader who would encapsulate the position of the minority. And then thereafter we will listen to the Finance Minister, and then I will come in later. And I thought that chronology was not good enough. Because if the minority leader, sticks to the position, which position could be influenced by the engagement that we have with the Finance Minister, then the better arrangement would be for us to allow space to the Finance Minister for him to have this engagement. And I heard your reporter saying that Ken Oforiatta was seeking to have the entire weekend to have the consultation. I don't know where he's getting this information from. It's totally untrue, and that reportage is inaccurate.
So that is why he said that's what he was told. So it could be a source.
By who? He is a reporter of your cherished media house. So he thrives on rumor mill.
No, that's not rumor. When you are reporting and you are dealing with a situation like unfolded yesterday, I was watching you guys throughout, and you are dealing with such a situation. Of course, you would be told things.
You will seek verification, even if you heard that from one side. you seek verification or authentication from the other side as well.
Yeah, so he doesn't say emphatically that is the official position. That's not what he said.
Be that as it may.
Right.
Let me just say that no such thing cropped up. Indeed, during our consultation, he wanted some time. And I thought that maybe he had a maximum 1 hour with the minority, maximum 1 hour with the majority. We could arrive at some position. Because when we met, some of the issues that were raised, and I had even raised them ahead of time with the finance minister. Some of them, the minister realized that we needed to do some amendment and patching up work in the presentation.
For example, what issues? For example,
the Accra Energy Agreement that the minorities are related to. I brought to the attention of the finance minister that how it had been captured in the budget was inaccurate, and that they could have looked at the request from the Minister of Energy when he came to Parliament. And it's a fancy expression in the request, and also in the Hansa. The proper thing ought to have been done. The second thing involved an issue that had been raised by the Honorable Jito Ablakwa in respect of the Blekusho Sea Defense War. And when the Minister for Housing, Works and Housing came to relate to it, he said he had put in a request. Apparently, it went under the radar. And the minister was prepared to accommodate that. The Speaker himself, on the day of the presentation of the budget, remember, we took a while after we went into conclave. The Speaker raised issues about allocation to Parliament.
That's right.
And we're going to deal with that. So there are, on these counts, some major concessions that the minister was going to come up with. And then dialogue.
There's nothing about the e-levy?
The e-levy, when we went into post-budget deliberations on the budget, we had many consultants who came to talk to that. One of them, I would admit, called for the total scrapping of the e-levy and for government to look elsewhere. 4 others related to one of them also said he thought that was a very ingenious thing to do, so he thought that we should do it. That we need to further engage before it's in possession. One person said starting off at 1.75 was on the high side, and that government could climb down, and he proposed that we could start with 1%. Another said the weight was burdensome, and that we should go to 1.50 and rather bring back the road tolls to top up. So all these discussions had gone. How was the minister going to respond in engaging the caucuses? And we thought if space had been granted, these things could have been sorted out.
As far as you know, the minister or the ministry or government has made concessions on these, particularly the e-levy, and you were just going to announce it to the members to get them, to buy in.
The e-levy, I wouldn't know what the minister was going to say about it. But these other ones, I know, because we have had these discussions, and the minister was going to engage the minority, engage the majority about possibilities.
Okay.
And then, of course, when we have done that, it may have to reflect on the ceilings or environment in the budget and so on. So perhaps he had done his homework and wanted to speak to us on these matters.
Please indulge me this last one. Didn't this issue about the president's travel expense, didn't it come up because they had indicated that if you did not bring it to the front burner and it was not answered to, it would be an issue they would consider going into dealing with the budget?
Well, at that stage, we are dealing with the policies and principles of the budget. So what has that got to do with the policies and principles? In any event, I know somebody has also filed a question relating to the expenditure involved in the Speaker's own travels, when he also used the presidential jet to Nigeria and so on. Why hasn't that question also featured prominently in this? I think that those are side issues that we can deal with. Because at this stage, it is the principles and policies underpinning the budget that we're dealing with.